Hello everyone. Starting with today's lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the one of the most important topic from the organon, that is logic. And in this, we are going to discuss what is mean by logic and the relation of logic and homeopathy. So in this, logic means it is the science of reasoning, and reason is the mind's eye and enables us to explain the different phenomena critically. So, reasoning is the intellectual faculty by which conclusions are drawn from premises by connected thought. It teaches us how one judgment may be inferred, that is, arrived at, reached from other judgments. So, any processes of inferences is based on reasoning. Hence, logic is also called as the science of inferences. So, in this, the word logic is derived from the Greek adjective logiki that corresponds to the Greek word logos, which means thought or idea, argument, account, reason, or principle as the expression of thought. So, what is mean by logic? In short, it is the science of inference, it is the science of reasoning, means by which in our mind the thoughts comes. So, logic means it also called it as a it is an idea, it is an argument, it is an reason, or it is an expression of thoughts. As we call it is an expression of our thoughts. The use of the same word logos to denote both thought and the word emphasizes the close relation between thought and its expression in language. Hence, the logic is the science of thought as expressed in the language. So, the main definition of logic that we call it as a logic is the science of thought as expressed in the language. So, what we thought, that is the science behind our thought that is expressed in language, that we call it as a logic. So, you have to remember this main thing, that is, logic is the science of thought as expressed in the language, that we call it as a logic. Then there are different definitions of logic, that it may be called as a science of inferences, science of the reasoning, and the science of thought. So we expressed as a science of reasoning, any processes of inference is based on reasoning. Hence, logic is also called as a science of inference. And in this, the science of reasoning, we also called logic as the science of reasoning. By how we reason for each thing, that we call it as a science of reasoning. That is, behind every reason, there is a science, and hence we call it as a the science of reasoning, also the logic, and the science of thought, that is which thought comes in our mind, and that the science of that thought which is expressed in the form of language, that we call it as a logic. So these are the different definitions of logic, that is science of inference, science of reasoning, and the science of thought. Then after this, the history part of a logic, that is logic is related to mainly the two scientists, that is Aristotle and second one Lord Francis Bacon. So these two scientists are mainly related to the history part of a logic. So first we will see what is the relation of Aristotle and the logic. So in this, the first sustained work on the subject of logic which has survived was that of Aristotle. So what is the first work done on a logic? It is done by the Aristotle, and Aristotle having the period between the 380 to 312 BC, and Aristotle called as a father of logic. So it is the main thing, that is the father of logic is Aristotle. And according to Aristotle, logic is the important instrument for acquisition of genuine knowledge. So According to Aristotle, what he explained about logic, that is, logic is the important instrument for acquisition of genuine knowledge, that we call it as a logic according to Aristotle. Then, logic is also called as a science of sciences. He also explained logic as a science of sciences, as he was the founder of both deductive and inductive logic. So he done work on both the logic, that is the types of logic. There are mainly two types of logic, inductive logic and deductive logic. So Aristotle done, or he was the founder of both, that is of inductive logic and the deductive logic. Then logic is concerned with thought forms and thinking process to achieve truth. So what is the logic according to Aristotle? That is, logic is concerned with thought forms. What are the thoughts comes in the mind that are related to the logic, and the thinking process to achieve the truth. For for what reason it is comes in our mind, that is the thought forms and the thinking process, it is comes in a mind to achieve the truth, and that we call it as a logic. Then his method of logic has been explained in his book, that is Prior Analyticals. So Aristotle explained the logic in the book, that is of Prior Analyticals. So this is the father of logic, that is Aristotle. Time period between the 384 to 312 BC. Then the second scientist which work on a logic, that is, we call it as a Lord Francis Bacon. The first work done by the Aristotle, hence we called them as a father of logic. And second large work done by Lord Francis Bacon. So who was the Lord Francis Bacon, or how he worked on a logic? So Lord Francis Bacon, that is time period between 1561 to 1626 AD, that formulated the new system of logic in his book Novum Organum to highlight the importance of inductive logic. Before Lord Bacon, its time, logic was used principally as an instrument for argument and disputation. Little or no attention were given to facts. So, Lord Francis Bacon formulated the new system of logic in his book, that is Novum Organum. That is, first time he wrote about the logic in this book, that is Novum Organum, to highlight the importance of inductive logic, and mainly the work of Lord Francis Bacon is on the inductive logic. So, before Lord Bacon times, logic was principally as an instrument for the argument and disputation. That is, before the Lord Francis time, the logic was considered it is used for an instrument of argument. That is, it is only used for an instrument of argument and disputation, or little or no attention were given to the facts. But actually, what are the facts behind each thought? The little or no attention were given to these facts. So he demolished innumerable false systems and restored logic to its true place as the guide to truth. So Lord Francis Bacon demolished the innumerable false system. The false system before the Lord Francis Bacon, he demolished them, that the logic is not only the instrument for the argument or the disputation, but it is the logic which is used for the logic to its true place as the guide to truth. So it is used as a guide to the truth, or to find out the exact truth. He used the inductive method of logic or inductive logic. So Lord Francis Bacon firstly used the logic for as a place as the guide to the truth. Then Lord Francis Bacon, who was Lord Francis Bacon. So he was associated with royal family of England. He left the Cambridge school by saying that these studies are useless. That is, he belongs to royal family of England, but he left his Cambridge school by saying that these studies are useless. What was study at his time was useless study, and it is not important from the practical point of view. So he left that Cambridge school by saying that these studies are useless. Then he is considered as founder of modern inductive logic and said it is the only method of scientific discovery. So he was considered as a founder of modern inductive logic, the father of logic called as Aristotle, but the founder of a modern inductive logic, that is gives to the Lord Francis Bacon, and said it is only the method of scientific discovery. So, if there is any scientific discovery, behind that there is a modern inductive logic is present. He also introduced the logical systematization of scientific procedures. That is, he also introduced the logical systematization of scientific procedures. As for doing each and every scientific procedure, you must follow the inductive logic and the science behind that inductive logic. So he was considered as a founder of a modern inductive logic, that is the Lord Francis Bacon. Then Bacon divided the knowledge into three parts according to function of human understanding. That is, the next work of Lord Francis Bacon was that he divided the knowledge into three parts according to the function of human understanding. What is the knowledge? And on the basis of knowledge, he divided it into three parts to according to the function of human understanding. So he divided the knowledge firstly into history, secondly poesy, and thirdly philosophy. So history, that corresponds to the memory. What is the memory? That is history that corresponds to the memory. Secondly, poesy, that corresponds to imagination. Means in our memory the history parts remains, that is the history that corresponds to the memory. Then our power of imagination, we make the poesy. And philosophy, that corresponds to reasoning, that is to find out the reason of everything, that gives birth to the philosophy, that is to find out the reason of each and everything, that gives to the philosophy. So he divided that knowledge into three parts. First, history, that corresponds to the memory. Second, poesy, that corresponds to the imagination. And thirdly, the philosophy, that corresponds to the reasoning. So, this is the history part of logic. That is, firstly, we studied about what is mean by logic, word meaning of logic, and definition of logic. After this, we study the history part of logic. In history part of logic, we study about the two scientists, that is who work on a logic. In this, first is Aristotle and second Lord Francis Bacon. So Aristotle, called as a father of logic, and he invented, or he was the founder of both, that is of inductive and the deductive logic. And at that time the logic is used as an instrument for the arguments only. But after this, that is Lord Francis Bacon, that work on a logic, he put his view in the book of Novum Organum first time, and he was the founder of modern inductive logic. And he demolished the part, that is logic is not only an instrument of the arguments, but it is the facts that finds the truth of everything. Or to find out the truth of everything, you must need the logic. And hence he used the logic as a scientific method, or for every scientific method there must be a presence of logic. And then he divided the knowledge into three parts, that is history, corresponds to memory, poesy that corresponds to imagination, philosophy that corresponds to the reasoning. Now the third main part of logic start, that is the types of logic. What are the types of logic? So in this, the logic is mainly divided into two parts, that is deductive logic and inductive logic. And you have to remember that deductive means that is the deduction, and inductive means induction, or we can add this. So in this, the deductive logic you simply remember as it is from general to particular, or it is also called as a pure or a formal logic, that we call it as a deductive logic. And reasoning from the general to particular, that is we make the conclusion from general to particular thing, that is the deductive logic. And second one, inductive logic, that is the logic of reality or logic of truth, that we call it as a inductive logic. And in this, reasoning from detailed facts to general principles, that is in this we make the inductive logic as from particular to general things. So in deductive logic you have to remember from general to particular, and in inductive you have to remember from particular to general. So these are the main two types of logic, that is deductive logic and inductive logic. Then there are some other types of logic also that considered, that is it may be a informal logic, it may be symbolic logic, or it may be mathematical logic. But mainly there are two types of logic, that is inductive logic and deductive logic. But these are the some of a special type of logic, or we call it as a other types of logic, that is informal logic, symbolic logic, or mathematical logic. So in this, the first is informal logic. What is mean by informal logic? So informal logic is the study of uh, natural language arguments. So in this, it is the study of natural language arguments, and the study of fallacies is an especially important branch of informal logic. The dialogues of Plato are a major example of informal logic, where there is a use of informal language or informal logic, that we call it as a informal logic. Or in this, the study of natural language arguments, where there is a natural language arguments are used. The study of fallacies is an especially important branch of informal logic, and in this, the dialogues of Plato are a major example of informal logic. Then the second one is symbolic logic. So what is the symbolic logic? It is the study of symbolic abstractions that capture the formal features of logical inferences. Means there is a use of a symbol. In informal logic, there is a use of languages, but in symbolic logic, it is the study of symbolic abstractions that capture the formal features of logical inference. Symbolic logic is often divided into two branches, that is propositional logic and the predicate logic. So these are the two types or the branches of symbolic logic, that is propositional logic and the predicate logic. So this is the second special type, that is symbolic logic. And the third type, that is mathematical logic. So it is an extension of symbolic logic into other areas, in particular to the study of model theory, proof theory, set theory, and recursion theory. So mathematical logic, it is an extension of symbolic logic into other areas, that is in particular to the study of model theory, proof theory, set theory, and recursion theory. So these are the some other types of logic. These are not so important according to our pathy, but these are given as a special type of logic, that is informal logic, symbolic logic, and the mathematical logic. Then the main two types of logic, that is inductive logic and deductive logic. So in this, first we will discuss about the deductive logic. What is mean by the deductive logic? So in this, the reasoning from the general to the particular, that we call it as a deductive logic. Means from general things we make a particular thing by the process of deduction, that we call it as a deductive logic. That is reasoning that makes from the general to the particular, that we call it as a deductive logic. So in this, from cause to effect, what we do in the deductive logic, we go from cause to the effect. A deduction is an argument in which the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. That is, a deduction is an argument in which the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. That is, we consider the premises, and from that premises we goes to the conclusion by various arguments, that we call it as a deductive logic or the deduction. And in this, Aristotle's deductive method is otherwise called as a syllogism. So what is the syllogism? If you ask about the syllogism, syllogism is a deductive method of logic, and that is given by the Aristotle. So Aristotle's deductive method is otherwise called as a syllogism, which means that is computation. Every syllogism consists of three parts. That is, syllogism consists of three parts. That is, the major premises, minor premises, and conclusion. So what is the major premises? Then what is the minor premises, and how we go from major premises to minor premises to the conclusion. So syllogism has three parts, that is major premises, minor premises, and conclusions, that are all related to the deductive method of logic. So in this, they explain one example regarding the syllogism. So in this, all men are mortal. That is the major premise. What is the major premise? All men are mortal. So John is a man. It is a minor premises. One, the man is there, that having the name, that is John. So John is a man. That is minor premise. And what we conclude from these major and minor premises, that is, John is mortal. As all men are mortal, John also a mortal. So it is the conclusion. So syllogism can be continued. The conclusion of one syllogism can be used as the premise for other syllogism. So when we make a conclusion, that conclusion can be one of the premise for the other thing, or the conclusion of one syllogism can be used as the premise for the other syllogism. So the basic principle never requires the premises. But what are the basic principles? They cannot change, that cannot require the premises. So this is the example of deductive method of logic, or also we call it as a syllogism, that is told by Aristotle. That is having the major premise, minor premise, and from which we drawn the conclusion. So every syllogism has three parts, that is major premise, minor premise, and a conclusion. So syllogism can be continued. The conclusion of one syllogism can be used as the premise for other syllogism. So this is one of the example of deductive method of logic, or the syllogism. Then there are examples regarding the syllogism, or regarding the deductive method of logic. In this, one example is given, that is, all doctors are wise. That is the general reasoning, and in this, Kent is a doctor. This is a particular thing. Therefore, Kent is also wise. So that is general to particular. means what we call it as a deductive logic. So in that deductive logic, how we go from general to particular, this is one of the example, that is all doctors are wise. This is the general premise or a major premise. Then Kent is a doctor, this is a particular premise, or we call it as a minor premise. And from this, therefore, Kent is also wise, that is the conclusion that we conclude from general to particular premises. So this is one of the example of deductive method of logic, that is general to particular. Kent is also a wise. So this is example regarding the deductive method of logic. Then this is the first type of logic, that is deductive method. And in this deductive method means in which we go from general to particular, and we see one example regarding the deductive logic also. Then the next type or the second type of logic is the inductive logic. So what is mean by inductive logic? In this, reasoning from detailed facts to general principle. So in this, we do the reasoning from detailed facts to the general principles. Means in this we go from particular to the general principles. In deductive logic, we go from general to particular, and in inductive logic, we go from particular to the general principles. So in this inductive logic, the logic of Bacon, Mill and the Hahnemann has a higher function than the logic of Aristotle, which exists and is used largely for the purpose of mere argumentation. So in this, the inductive method of logic has a higher function than the logic of Aristotle, that is of deductive logic. So in this, the inductive logic, which is explained by Lord Francis Bacon, which is explained by Mill and then by Hahnemann, has a higher function than the logic of Aristotle, as at the time of Aristotle, which exists and is used largely for the purpose of mere argumentation. At that time, the logic is used only for the argumentation. But after this, the inductive method of logic, that is from particular to general, have give the scientific approach to the logic. So in this, the inductive logic does concern itself with facts, with reality. Its primary purpose is the discovery and the use of truth. So after this, the inductive logic does concern itself with facts and with reality. What is the reality or what is the facts? It is related to the inductive logic, and its primary purpose is the discovery and the use of truth. That is, what is the primary purpose of inductive logic? That is of discovery, that is to discover something, or it is used by the use of truth, and it is based on the use of truth, that we call it as a inductive logic. So here they explain one example, that is of inductive logic, that is coat, shirt, trousers. These are the particular things, that is coat, shirt, trousers, but all together that we call it as a clothes. So clothes is a general thing, that is coat, shirt or trousers. These are the particular things, and from this particular thing we make the conclusion that the clothes, these are the clothes. So clothes is a general term which is used for these particular things. So we go from particular to general thing, that is the inductive logic. So there are some requirement of inductive logic. So what are the requirement of the inductive logic? So in this they explain about, that is the soundness, consistency, completeness and adequate knowledge. These are the requirement of inductive logic. So the soundness means the premises must be true, they should be valid observation of facts upon pure experimentation. So, what is the true, or what the premises must be the true, and they should be valid observation of facts upon the pure experimentation, and these observations are valid and can be depend upon a pure experimentation. So in that inductive logic there must be presence of soundness, then consistency, which means that none of the theorems of the system contraindicate each other or one another. So this consistency may be present, that the theorems which they form they cannot contradict one another. Then completeness, the induction must be a complete without a break from premises to conclusion. So in this there should not be a break between these from premises to conclusion. It is a complete process, that when we consider the premises up till conclusion there should not be any break or any incompleteness present in that. So when we consider the inductive method of logic, that must have a completeness, that is induction must be complete without a break from premises to conclusion. And lastly, it must have adequate knowledge on the subject. When we consider the inductive logic, in that we must have a adequate knowledge regarding that on the subject. Then we can make the inductive method of logic. So inductive method is the science, in science is the application of the principles of inductive logic to scientific research. So in inductive logic or in inductive method in science is the application of the principle of inductive logic to scientific research, and this was originated by Lord Bacon, that is given in book Novum Organum, and it was further developed by Stuart Mill in his great system of logic, and it has been the inspiration, the basis, and the instrument of every modern science. So, Lord Francis Bacon called upon to men cease speculating and go direct to nature in their search for truth. So, this is the method which is used for the search of truth, and he demolished the innumerable false system and restored to its true place as the guide to the truth. That we call it as a inductive method of logic. Then there are some steps of inductive logic. How inductive logic are developed, that having some steps. So in this they explain about the 4 steps of inductive logic. This is the qualities of inductive logic, that is soundness, consistency, completeness, and adequate knowledge. Along with this, it having the 4 steps of inductive logic. In this, these 4 steps are exact observation, then correct interpretation, rational explanation, and scientific conclusion. How the exact observation is done, how the correct interpretation is done, then how the rational explanation is done, and how they form the scientific conclusion. And this can be explained with the help of homeopathy. That is, what is the relation of homeopathy and the logic? It is depend on these things, that is the steps of inductive logic with the explanation of these steps, that is exact observation, correct interpretation, rational explanation, and scientific conclusion. This can be explained with the help of how homeopathy developed. So in this the first method is exact observation. So what is the exact observation? In homeopathy, the Hahnemann's exact observation of the frequent failures to help sick patient by his method of treatment when being an allopath resulted a honest disappointment and made him quit his practice of medicine. While translating Coulin's Materia Medica, the exact observation of the truth that the ability of cinchona bark to cure malaria was not the astringent property of it made him to experiment on himself. So what is the exact observation of Dr. Hahnemann regarding the homeopathy as that is during the time when he was practicing allopathy. That is, we all know that Dr. Hahnemann, as an allopath, practicing the allopathy previously. So while practicing the allopathy, he found that there are frequent failures to help the sick patient by his method of treatment. When he, when being an allopath, and resulted a honest disappointment and made him quit his practice of medicine. And due to this disappointment, he quit his practice of medicine and do the work of translating Coulan's Materia Medica. So that is, while translating Coulan's Materia Medica, the exact observation of the truth that the ability of cinchona bark to cure malaria was not the astringent property of it made to him experiment on him. And that is his exact observation, that when translating Coulan's Materia Medica, he comes to the one thought, that is cinchona bark cures the malaria fever. So he done the experiment on this, or this sentence is the exact observation of him. So this is the first step of inductive logic, that is exact observation of Dr. Hahnemann. Then the second step was the correct interpretation. So what is the correct interpretation? Correct interpretation of the fact from the cinchona experiment that the diseases are cured by the properties of drugs which are capable of producing the similar disease in healthy person. So in this, the second step was the correct interpretation, how he make the interpretation of his observation, that is of the fact from the cinchona experiment that the diseases are cured by the properties of a drug which are capable of producing the similar disease in healthy persons. That is, from the cinchona experiment he make the correct interpretation, that is diseases that are cured by the properties of drug that can have the capability to produce the similar disease in healthy persons. So this is the correct interpretation of Dr. Hahnemann, and this is the second step of inductive method of logic. Then the third step of inductive method of logic is that the rational explanation. So what is the rational explanation? The rational explanation of the phenomena of Similia similibus curanter was hinted at the time of ancient Hindu sages by Hippocrates, Paracelsus, and Stale. So, what is the rational explanation of the fact of this correct interpretation? So, rational explanation he put forth, that is the law of similars, that is similia similibus curanter, that is when that same thing having the power of disease curing, that same thing have the power of producing the disease also. So that is when similia similibus curanter, this is the rational explanation of Dr. Hahnemann. And this is the third step of inductive method of logic, that is rational explanation. Means on the basis of correct interpretation he make the rational explanation of this phenomena as similia similibus curanter, means like cure like, means the substance which having the producing or curing the disease power, that must have the power of producing the same disease condition in healthy human being. And on the basis of this, the fourth step comes, that is the scientific construction or the scientific conclusion. And what is the scientific conclusion he made? The scientific construction of the principle involved from his inductive reasoning, and from his inductive reasoning he make the scientific construction or the conclusion. With the true scientific construction he applied to the principle evolved from his inductive reasoning and correlating experiment he had experimented. So he make the scientific constructions of a pathy, that is the homeopathy, which is totally a scientific method of inductive method of reasoning. So these are the different step of inductive method of logic. First one, the exact observation. Secondly, correct interpretation. Then third, rational explanation. And fourth one, that is the scientific construction. And how homeopathy is developed, these are explained in these four steps, that is the exact observation of Dr. Hahnemann, then how he put forth the correct interpretation of it, then how he make the rational explanation of it, and finally how he formed the scientific method of reasoning, or the scientific method, that is the homeopathy, which is based on principles and which is totally a scientific method of medical science. Now, the next part, that is the method of search of cause. What are the different methods for search of cause to find out the cause of anything? What are the different methods? So in this, they explain the four methods for search of cause. First one, that is the method of agreement, then method of difference, method of concomitant variation, and method of residues or of residual variations. These are the four methods of for the search of cause. So in this, these four methods of induction in search for the cause are: first one, method of agreement, so in which a condition uniformly present is assumed to be probably a cause. So what is the method of agreement? What you have to agree, that is in which a condition uniformly present is assumed to be probably a cause. So you have to consider probably the cause. Then the method of difference. So what is the method of difference? In which the happening of an event when a condition is present and its failure when a condition is absent lead to the assumptions of that condition as a cause. So in this, you have to make the difference what you probably consider it as a cause. So in this second method, the method of difference, in which the happening of an event when a condition is present or its failure when a condition is absent. So what is the condition or event, that is if it is present or it is absent lead to the assumptions of that the condition as a cause. Then thirdly, the method of concomitant variation. So in which the simultaneous variation in similar the degree of condition and event establishes a causal relation. This is the third method, that is the method of concomitant variation, in which the simultaneous variation in similar the degree of condition and the event establishes the causal relation. And the fourth is the method of residues or a residual variation, where after subtracting from a phenomena that part due to causes already established, the remainder is held to be due to some other ascertained cause or to the known remaining causes. That is the fourth method, that is the method of residues or of residual variations. So this is up to the logic, that is in this we studied about what is mean by logic, word meaning of logic, then different definitions of logic. Then thirdly, we studied about the history part of logic, in which we studied about the two scientists, that is first Aristotle and second one Lord Francis Bacon. Then nextly we studied about the types of logic. In types of logic we studied about, mainly there are two types of logic: inductive logic and deductive logic, and along with this they explain about some special types of logic. So in these special types of logic, that is informal logic, symbolic logic, and mathematical logic. But along with this, these two types of logic are important: first one deductive logic and second inductive logic. In deductive logic we studied about, that is it goes from general to particular, that is the deductive logic. And at the time of Aristotle explained deductive logic as a syllogism, and that having a major premises, minor premises, and the conclusion. And we give one example regarding this syllogism, and the one example regarding the general and particular thing of deductive logic. Then secondly, we explain about the inductive logic. What is the inductive logic? It is go from the particular to the general, and it is for finding out the truth behind everything. That we call it as a inductive logic. Then we study about the what are the qualities of inductive logic, that is soundness, consistency, completeness. So these are the some of the qualities of inductive logic. After this, we studied about the different steps of inductive logic, which is explained on the basis of homeopathy, that is exact observation, then correct interpretation, then rational explanation, then scientific conclusion. And after this, we studied about the method for search of a cause. Now, the next part, that is what is the relation between logic and homeopathy. So, what is the relation between logic and homeopathy? One example we studied, that is the steps of homeopathy. How homeopathy is developed, it is totally based on a logic. That is, all the four steps of logic can be satisfied with the homeopathy. That is exact observation, correct interpretation, rational explanation, and scientific conclusion. So in this, the what is the relation between logic and homeopathy? So analysis of organon of medicine as well as the history of emergence of homeopathy shows clearly that homeopathy is a product of inductive logic applied to the subject of medicine. That is what is given in organon of medicine, that is analysis of organon of medicine as well as the history of emergence of homeopathy shows that the homeopathy is a product of inductive logic that is applied to the subject of medicine. So it is totally based on a inductive logic. So in fact, it is one of the most and the first brilliant example of inductive application of inductive method to the solution of one greatest problem of humanity, namely treatment and cure of disease, and this chief contribution to science by Dr. Hahnemann. So it is, in fact, it is one of the most and the first brilliant example of application of inductive method. So we know that the all the steps of inductive method can be satisfied with homeopathy and to the solution of one greatest problem of humanity, namely treatment and cure of diseases. So this is the chief contribution to science by Dr. Hahnemann. Then there are some principles of homeopathy, that is similia similibus curanter is a product of true logic, originally deductive but confirmed and verified by the inductive method of reasoning. So these are the different terms of homeopathy, how they are related to the logic. So in this, the first is principles of homeopathy, that is similia similibus curanter. It is originally the deductive method but confirmed and verified by the inductive method of reasoning. So this is the relation between homeopathy and the logic. Then doctrine of drug proving is the first doctrine born in the greatest intellect of Hahnemann, is a byproduct of both the deductive and inductive logic. So what is the method of drug proving? The drug proving is covered under both, that is of deductive and the inductive logic. So it is first doctrine born in the greatest intellect of Hahnemann, is a byproduct of both. In drug proving we consider the deductive and inductive both the logic. Then in law of simplex is the principle born along with the law of similia and drug proving. It is essentially the inductive method of reasoning. So what is the law of simplex? That is, we use the single simple thing at a time, that we call it as a law of simplex, and it is totally based on essentially an inductive method of reasoning, that is law of simplex. Then the second law, that is theory of miasms or the law of causation. And the real cause is the whole of the antecedent, and we have no right to give the name of the cause to one of them exclusively of others. The most common and the most pernicious medical error is to assume that a disease had a single cause, or to direct all efforts and agencies against that. So, the theory of chronic miasm, it is related to the inductive or the deductive method. So, in this, Hahnemann discovery of miasm was entirely based on the true induction and generalization. So, in this, we consider the induction of reasoning or the generalization method. So, but later in the history of homeopathy, this particular doctorate suffered a lot of deduction by the dogmatic followers of Hahnemann and rendered to a lot more confusions about miasm and complicated the scientificity of homeopathy. So, when purely it is a method of induction or generalization, but after that, many of the followers make many confusions in the term of miasm, and now it is totally a complicated the scientificity of the homeopathy regarding the miasm. They the law of minimum. So its principle formulated from the experience by Hahnemann, probably the concept of minimum dose came up when he was treating a case of colicodynia. 4 grains doses of Varatrem album twice daily for 2 days were given, and the patient had life threatening aggravation. So in 1801 he advised 1 is to 1 lack of 1 drop of belladonna and mother tincture as a dose for cure and prevention of scarlet fever. So in this, the law of minimum is regarding the deductive method of logic. Then the theory of vital force in 6th edition of Organon, it is transformed as a vital principle. Its discovery is possibly an attempt of Hahnemann to give a reasonable explanation of to an unknown phenomena. It seemed to be dogmatic theory rather than by product of a logical science. And in this, the consequences of his history of vital force had a far reaching and most damaging impact on homeopathy and obstructed further investigation of the drug action in homeopathy. Then, the theory of drug dynamization. The discovery of dynamization is the combination of both the logic and intuition. The discovery of dynamization is very important not only for the medical field but also in the physical sciences. So, dynamization changed the total outlook of homeopathy as it completely changed from material science to a dynamic science. So, this is the theory of drug dynamization. Then, case taking and the examination of the patient that deals with demands of homeopathic physician as a freedom from prejudiced sound senses, attention in observing, fidelity and tracing the picture of disease are nothing but the initial requisite of an inductive method. So, case taking is totally a inductive method of logic in which we make the things that is from particular to the general premises. Then the diagnosis, the method of diagnosis, disease diagnosis and the patient diagnosis or individualization is an inductive reasoning as the processes of correct interpretation on the basis of true facts exactly observed. So diagnosis is totally an inductive method of logic in which the reasoning as the processes of correct interpretation on the basis of true facts exactly observed, and it is the process of generalization erected from the facts obtained during the case taking. Then the totality of symptoms, individualization and prescription. By the definition, the totality of symptoms means all the symptoms of a case which are capable of being logically combined into a harmonious and consistent whole having forms, coherency and individuality. So These are depend on an inductive method of logic. Then law of cure based on exact observation and verification through number of cases from the experience of Hahnemann and other pioneers including the Hering. Then the repertory, the works on repertories are the greater master piece of analysis, comparison, and generalization in our literature. What is the repertory? It makes the analysis, comparison, and generalization in our literature. Bonning-Hussein's repertory is the outcome of true inductive reasoning, and Kant's repertory is mainly a deductive methodology interfered after an inductive work on facts. So, all the repertories that is of Bonning-Hussen that is related to inductive method, Kant's repertory that is related to the deductive method of logic. So, repertory is related to both that is of inductive and deductive method of logic. The prescriptions will be obviously scientific and more reasonable if they are based on an authentic repertorial references. So, this is regarding the logic, the references of these from the genus of homeopathy and the principles and art of cure by homeopathy. So, this is regarding the logic in which we study what is mean by logic, then word meaning of logic, definitions of logic, then the history part of logic containing Aristotle and Lord Francis Bacon's work. Then nextly we studied about the types of logic, the main two types, inductive and deductive, special types of logic, informal logic, then symbolic logic and mathematical logic. Then we explain the deductive and the inductive logic. Then we study about the inductive logic that having from particular to general, and in this we make the that is qualities of inductive logic. Then we explain about the steps of logic based on homeopathy, then the methods of finding the cause of or search for the logic. Then we study about what is the uh, relation between logic and homeopathy. So this is regarding the logic. I hope all of you understand, or if anyone having any difficulty, you can ask me anytime. So thank you friends.